YouTube channel Learning Economics. Please do not forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. I have just now uploaded a new video and please do check it and please comment if it is good or not, and thank you so much. Our first topic is demand. Demand is a very basic concept of economics. As we all know that if we are going to determine the price of any commodity or a service, then demand and supply requires, like demand and supply determine the price of any commodity. Okay, so now our question is, what is demand? Demand is the desire to purchase backed by purchasing power. Like here two important words are here. One is purchase backed by purchasing power. Okay, it means if we desire to have something, it is not demand. Like I desire to have an Audi car, but it's not my demand. Like I know I cannot afford an Audi car, right? So the desire which is backed by my affordability to have that particular thing. Okay, I mean all the desires are not demand. Demand is what is backed by your affordability, right? If I desire for an iPhone, and if I can afford to have that or afford to buy that, that means it is my demand for the iPhone. Okay, so it is very clear that the desire to purchase something which is also backed by your purchasing power. Like your purchasing power is zero and you are like you need a car or you need a high tech phone or a suppose a house. So it is not demand. Okay, so demand which is actually backed by your purchasing power. Okay, so there are 4 points here which I will say you very briefly. That first one is demand refers the per unit of time. Like demand always refers to demand for a product which is per unit of time. Like suppose a year, a month, 7 days, I mean a week, a week. Like demand for a particular product we can determine by determining the demand for that product in a particular time, like maybe a year. Like demand for a particular product in a year, like if I say demand for cold drinks are very high in summer than in winter, demand for ice creams are very high in summer. I know that demand for necessary items like grocery items are always high and always needed. So we know that demand for necessary items are high for all months of a year, and demand for some items are high and low for different months of the year. Okay. Demand always relates to commodity or service. Like you demand for a commodity or demand for a service. Okay, like if we demand for a bottle of orange juice, that means it's a commodity. And if we demand for a doctor service or lawyer service or a CA service or something like that, that is always relates to service. Okay, demand always refers to a place. Like place demand means if I live in a city and Mr. A lives in a village, demand for iPhone will not be the same here in my city and there in the village, right? So demand always refers to place demand. Like where the product is demanded. Like in villages, there are many things out there which are demanded, but in city that things are not demanded at all. That means if I live in a village, my demand would be something different. And if I live in a city, my demand is something different. Okay, I mean the demand for some commodity or demand for the commodities actually are different in a city, in a town, or in a village, right? Okay, can I give an example, right? Like in cities, uh, we do not we do not demand for bicycles more because we have a very sound transportation system here. But in village, bicycles are very like a very demanding product, a demanding commodity, as we say, because you know in villages there is no sound transportation system. There is not even the proper roads so that a transportation system can be built up there. So we can say in villages bicycles are a very demanding product, but in cities we do not need much bicycles because you know we have a good transportation system, and we can travel through Ola, taxis, auto, bus and all. Okay. Demand for a commodity, in individual demand or market demand, may be different at different prices. Like here I can give an example. Like for individual demand, if I say if I am an individual and I am going to a market and I want to buy a suppose a body wash for me, and the price for the body wash would be hopefully 200 a bottle, and market demand for that bottle, that particular body wash would be different if it is demanded by the market as a whole. Okay, like individual or market demand may be different at different prices, because you know the prices, if I can afford at rupees 200 rupees, and if I am selling the product or I am the wholesaler of the product, I will definitely not buy it at a rupees 200. I would like to buy it in a rather a lower price so that I can make more profit out of it. So individual demand or market demand may be different at different prices. Okay, now we come to the particular topic, that is law of demand, which is very, very important. Okay, law of demand means when it's a very simple thing, like there is a inverse relationship between the quantity demanded of a particular commodity and the price of that particular commodity. Like if quantity demanded increases, if price increases, quantity demanded increases, and if price increases, quantity demanded decreases. I mean there is an inverse relationship. Like if the price of any commodity decreases, quantity demand increases, and if the price of any commodity increases, the quantity demand decreases. Okay, suppose if we say if price of a particular car decreases by suppose rupees 50,000, its quantity will be, I mean the selling quantity will be increased eventually. Like, oh my god, it's a 50% 50,000 discount. So we always like to purchase things in discounts. Okay, so we always seek for the discounts in online websites and in other shops and in other malls and all. So if there is a discount or if there is a decrease in the price of the particular commodity, so obviously that commodity will be demanded more and more. So there is an inverse relationship, and that is increasing, this one decreasing, and this one decreasing, that one increasing. So this inverse relationship is known as law of demand. Okay, so there are some assumptions here for law of demand. One is taste and preference of the consumer should be unchanged. Like when because you know in case of law of demand we always start the definition with this particular line, that other things remain the same if the quantity demanded of a particular commodity decreases, the price of that commodity increases, and if the quantity demanded of a particular commodity increases, the price of that commodity decreases. So in that case, we have four assumptions in this case. Like, one is taste and preference. Taste and preference of consumers should be unchanged. Like, suppose if price of if price of Pepsi decreases, quantity demand increases. For me, individual demand I'm saying, okay. Price of Pepsi rupees 10, and I think I will eat 2 bottles, and if it getting 8, then I will have 3. Okay. That means if price of the Pepsi decreases, the quantity demanded for that particular Pepsi will be increased. In that case, we should take it into mind that taste and preference of mine should be unchanged. Like if I say, no, I don't like Pepsi, I like Limca, that does, then what is the point of, increasing and decreasing the price and quantity of that Pepsi? Like, if price increases or decreases, whatever the case may be, I will not demand Pepsi at all because I don't like it. In that case, the taste and preference should be unchanged. Okay. Next is money income. Money income should be unchanged. Money income of the consumer. Like, if my money income is decreasing or unchanged, suppose, and the price of the car is decreasing, that doesn't mean that I will go and buy a car. I will not, because my money income decreases to a level where I cannot afford a car. So money income of the individual should be unchanged. Next is the prices of other commodities. Like, in this case, I would like to say, suppose if I am buying a soap for rupees 10, and suppose a very renowned brand, Lux. Okay, so I will buy it at I'm buying it at rupees 10, and the prices of other commodities means, suppose Savlon is also Savlon has also priced this soap at rupees 10. That means I will buy Savlon. I will not buy Lux. Okay, because if prices of other commodities remain unchanged, then I will buy Lux. Like, আমি লাক্স কিনলাম, তারপরে আমি দেখলাম স্যাভলনের দামটাও 10 টাকায় চলে এসছে, তখন আমি বলবো যে আরে এটা তো 20 টাকা ছিল, এটা 10 টাকা হয়ে গেল, সো ডেফিনেটলি আই উইল বাই স্যাভলন, আই উইল নট বাই লাক্স, বিকজ লাক্স ইজ অলওয়েজ rupees 10 and Savlon was 20 and it came down to rupees 10, so then I will buy Savlon. So that will not be called as law of demand. Current prices of other commodities changes. So in that case, we will say prices of other commodities should be unchanged in case of law of demand. Like, other soaps, all the soaps are of rupees 10. And if I am buying Lux at rupees 10, that means I am preferring the commodity and I am taking it. Next is time period. Like, time period should be unaltered. Time period should be unaltered means, time period means for a particular, like, demand for a particular thing. Like, as I said before, that the demand for cold drinks and ice creams are higher in case of in summer and that than that of winter. So if we suggest the time period in case of law of demand assumptions, it should be unaltered. Like, we will choose a commodity, demand for which will be same or higher or lower for all through the seasons. Okay, we'll start with like exceptions of law of demand. There are different exceptions of law of demand. Like, in that situations, law of demand does not apply. First one is when the price of any commodity increases, the consumer may expect it to rise further. In that case, the consumer may consume the commodity in more and more units. Like normally in law of demand, if we say if the price of a commodity increases, the demand for that particular commodity decreases. Like dam bere gache and we will not buy it. But exception is where when the price of any commodity increases and the consumer thinks যে এটা ফিউচারে আরো বাড়বে তখন যদি আমি কিনতে না পারি তার থেকে এখন একটুখানি বেড়েছে I will buy more and more units of it. ঠিক আছে? That is the exception. First one. Next is sometimes consumers judge the quality by price. Like এটা আমরা করেই থাকি যে if the commodity is of lower price, that means the commodity is of inferior quality, and if the commodity is of high price, then the commodity is of superior quality. Okay, so this is called Veblen effect. Veblen effect means when consumers judge that if the quality of the particular commodity is higher, that means the price for that commodity should be higher. Okay, in that case price and quantity has the positive relationship, not inverse relationship. Okay, so in that case if we say and obviously this Veblen effect applies for the luxury items. Luxury item means suppose iPhone 13 Pro is more like has more features than iPhone 12 or iPhone 13, and the price is also a little higher than iPhone 12 and iPhone 13. That means as the quality of the product increases, as they named it iPhone 13 and iPhone 13 Pro, maybe there are a very little bit difference that even we do not even understand the difference. Still we will buy 13 Pro because the price of the commodity or the price of the iPhone 13 Pro is much higher than that of price of iPhone 13. Okay, so we always judge the quality of a product with the price of the product, and this is called Veblen effect, and this is applicable for the luxurious products like the iPhone, like the luxury cars, when we go to buy a car, we always seek to the sellers that what is new, what are the new features of this car, or what are the difference between this and this car. Like this is 5 lakhs and there is 10 lakhs, so what are the difference between a 5 lakhs car and a 10 lakhs car? Obviously there are differences, so always we know if we are paying higher price for it, that means we will be getting more features, we will be getting the premium quality product and all. Okay, so in these cases law of demand doesn't apply. Next, in share market, law of demand never applies, because in a share market, if price of share increases, demand for that particular share also increases. If price increases, demand increases. If price decreases, demand decreases. Like we all know that when price of the share increases, the demand for that share increases, because we expect it to rise further in future, because there is a very renowned, the share of the share is particularly of a very renowned company, so obviously the price will be high, and we will definitely demand for that. And if the price decreases, we will say okay, the price already decreased, so the company is not of that standard, so we will not buy. So in case of share market, law of demand Doesn't apply. And last one is inferior and given commodity. Inferior commodity means, when I have, suppose, low income, I will buy a commodity which is of lower price. Okay, so definitely I will buy that commodity which is of lower price, and as my income increases, the demand for the commodity will be decreasing, and that is called inferior commodity. Okay, like suppose if I am purchasing, if I have lower income and I'll be purchasing, I'm purchasing, margarine. Margarine is of lower cost, we know that. And when my income increases, I will shift from margarine to butter. Butter is of, good quality, higher price, and my income increases, so I will definitely go to purchase butter. Okay, so I will not buy margarine anymore because I have higher income now. And in case of given commodity, when a particular product, in case of like margarine and butter, and if in that case, if my income is the same, income remains unchanged, and my substitution effect, like substitution effect means, like tea and coffee. Like if tea is of rupees 15 and coffee is of rupees 20, so definitely we will buy tea more than that of coffee. So in case of substitution effect, we will say that we can, even coffee decreases to rupees 10, we will buy coffee. That means we will substitute tea for coffee or coffee for tea. So in case of substitution effect, and if income decreases, we will definitely buy a commodity which is of lower price. Okay, and that is called given commodity. I mean, inferior and given are all the same, but in this cases, inferior, in cases of inferior commodity, we have like higher incomes, lower quality product we will not purchase, but in case of given commodity, there will be substitution effect. Okay, income and substitution effect both, and